Last year, we saw the Philadelphia Eagles trade for a bona fide number one wide receiver, and it led to Jalen Hurts having almost pretty much an MVP caliber season if it weren't for one Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. The Chicago Bears did something similar. They traded for DJ Moore to be Justin Fields' bona fide number one wide receiver. Is it absurd to think that maybe there is a chance that we can see Justin Fields make a similar jump to what Jalen Hurts made last season?
I think we could see him make that jump in terms of how he performs. I think it would be, nuts to assume that they could potentially like make the Super Bowl or win the division, and I'm even gonna say make the playoffs. I don't think that there's a shot that they wind up making the playoffs. But I do think that Justin Fields has consistently throughout his high school and college career, he's been the second best guy in his class every step of the way, and he's only been second to Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the best quarterback prospects of all time. I think it's fair to say that he hasn't really gotten any great coaching through his first, season and some change. He had Matt Nagy, who couldn't decide if he wanted to start him or Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. And then Justin Fields got hurt, and then they threw Andy Dalton back in, and they were like, well, once Fields get healthy, we're still going to start Andy Dalton. It never really made any sense. And then you move on to last year. And I think towards the end of the season, they kind of, let Justin Fields, it was almost like backyard football. It was like, all right, Justin, draw up a play in the dirt where you make some, magical 60-yard run to the house, and the Bears lose 42-30. Like that's what it wound up being. And I think we could wind up seeing a little bit more of that this year. But everything I've heard out of Bears camp, especially from that wide receiver core, is like that it seems like it's clicking with Justin Fields. He's controlling the line of scrimmage a little bit more. And again, the addition of DJ Moore is massive. Now their top three wide receivers are, I would say, at least a top 10 trio in the NFL. You could maybe go a little bit higher, but I'm not super high on Darnell Mooney or Chase Claypool, but I can say that I think they're good for what they are, which is a number 2 and a number 3. I'm higher on DJ Moore than a lot of people, and I think that he has top 10 potential, and I think he just really, really has had some bad quarterback play in Carolina. So I think him potentially making that jump up into like the MVP bubble category. I don't want to say he's going to win the MVP, but I think he could be in that, like, one of those guys who, at least at the beginning of the season, it's like, wow, he's playing incredible. And then eventually, the Josh Allen, the Joe Burrow, the Patrick Mahomes again winds up pulling away with it. I could totally see him being in that category and making, maybe not the exact same level of jump that Jalen Hurts took, but maybe that, just in terms of the stats, maybe not the rushing stats that Hurts wound up putting up with, 13 rushing touchdowns. But I mean, if Justin Fields comes out here and he does, what Jalen Hurts did passing the ball, right? 22 touchdowns and 6 picks. I think we all look at that as a massive success. And if he can be anywhere in that, like, 64-ish to like 66% in terms of completion percentage, I think we look at that as a pretty big win for Justin Fields and the Bears.
How big of a jump can Justin Fields make with DJ Moore as his wide receiver 1, Peyton?
I mean, he can obviously make a huge jump, but I don't think it will be a big jump at all. I don't really see it. I think here's the thing. We obviously want to compare it to A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, right? And if you look at the numbers in their first 2 seasons, it's pretty similar between him and Jalen. However, Jalen Hurts had about like half the amount of interceptions that Justin Fields has. But also DJ Moore is not anywhere near close to the level of talented that A.J. Brown is. And also the Eagles have Devontae Smith, who they spent a first-round pick on as well. So it's like, I feel like it's an apples to oranges situation here in Chicago. Fields, I don't see it with him. I really don't. I think the Bears are trying to maybe hide their passing offense a little bit. I mean, they're running the ball more than anyone in the league, really. They're throwing the ball less than everybody in the league, that's for sure. 32nd in pass attempts last year. But, I don't see it with Fields this year, especially in the MVP talk. That's no for me. I mean, a lot of people are like, yeah, he could have maybe like a Jalen Hurts last year or like a Lamar Jackson, but that passer rating needs to go up. Those interceptions need to go down. It doesn't even matter how much you throw the ball. It really doesn't. It's about how efficient you are when you do it. And Justin Fields is not efficient when he does throw the football.
And
So-
and to kind of add on to your point just a little bit with the Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, one of the things that helped Jalen Hurts a lot was that offensive line. And the Bears do not have that whatsoever at all. Like I think we're going to see a lot of him like running for his life, which one, I think, plays against him in terms of the how well is he going to be able to pass the ball situation. But I do think it kind of helps him a little bit in terms of the he has no help argument, and also like the ability to make those crazy run around, plays where he winds up scoring for super far, which is where I think he can get into that like little bit of like the Lamar Jackson in 2018 situation. Definitely not from the passing perspective, but at least from the running, where it's like at some point this guy has so many highlight plays that we have to keep talking about him. And it's kind of what the category he got into a little bit last year. But that offensive line is going to be a major disadvantage for Justin Fields and the Bears and in his development, to be honest.
And can I say this too? Justin Fields is not anywhere near close Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts as a player. Yeah. I don't think he's very close at all. Lamar Jackson in his MVP season had 2 games where he had a perfect passer rating. He was the best. He was the highest rated passer in the red zone the entire year. And he has been for a very long time. He's a very great quarterback in the red zone, extremely efficient. And he's also putting up the same rushing numbers that Justin Fields is. Now you look at Jalen Hurts. First year wasn't so great. Second year, statistically, throwing the ball wise, it wasn't great, but they made the playoffs. They won enough games to make the playoffs. The Bears were the worst team in football last year. There's a huge gap. And I'm not saying that Justin Fields can never, because I never like to say that. Yes, he can. He's an extremely talented guy. But situationally, it's not the same. And I think play style is not the same either.
So I don't think Justin Fields is going to be MVP. I don't. You'll find out who my MVP is in like 30 minutes. But so I think we look at this relatively. In my opinion, by the end of the 2020 season, when or was that 2020? The 2021 season, excuse me, when the Eagles had lost to the Buccaneers, I was of the impression that Jalen Hurts was a top 15-ish quarterback. Like on the bubble is where I thought that he could be. And of course, by the end of last season, he firmly cemented himself as the 4th best quarterback in football. Maybe 3rd, depending on how you feel about Josh Allen, but he's not better than Joe Burrow. And you can really make an argument that maybe he's not top 5, but he's in that 3 to 6 or 7 range. Like he's in there, right? Justin Fields, to me, at the end of last season, is probably the 20th best quarterback in football. If you just if he just improves empirically the way that Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts improved, that would mean that, to me, and I think this, Justin Fields has the potential, if he improves from the efficiency standpoint, like you guys are talking about, that he could be a borderline top 10 quarterback on the season. Not overall, but just we can look at Justin Fields if he becomes more efficient, if he makes better choices with the football, if he utilizes DJ Moore, and if the Bears utilize him and DJ Moore properly. We can look at Justin Fields at the end of the season and say, man, Justin Fields was probably one of the 10 best quarterbacks we saw play football just in the season. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback by the end of the season, because he's got a long ways to go from that, and because like 95% of the guys in the top 10 are just about in Justin Fields' age range, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So for me, if Justin Fields plays great ball this year and he is efficient and he does all the things that we kind of talked about as far as the completion percentage and not turning the ball over as much and just being an efficient thrower of the football, despite the O-line, I would like to think that means that Justin Fields makes a really big jump. And I would go as far to say that if Justin Fields can make that much of an improvement and make that big of a jump with a bad O-line, you'd have to think that if he had a better O-line, he would, of course, then even be even better, which is why I think a jump of any kind for Justin Fields, like a massive jump. I don't mean it's like right now Justin Fields is like there's a lot of people still not 100% sure on if Justin Fields is a franchise guy. If Justin Fields by the end of the season is is a borderline Pro Bowler, I think that's a massive win for Justin Fields. I think that's a massive win for the Bears. I think that's a step in the right direction. And to me, that is the equivalent of Jalen Hurts going from a Pro Bowler to being arguably one of the best quarterbacks in football. To me, it's about the same. I would say it's comparable. Although I think that going from being a Pro Bowler to being an MVP is more difficult than going from being a franchise guy to a Pro Bowler. But again, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how your team has the least amount of pass attempts in the entire NFL and you still have double-digit interceptions. It just, like, you know what I mean? You're getting very few opportunities to throw the football and look good, because when you do, you look bad.